Okay.
All right, let's get going.
Yeah, we need to stop distracting yourself.
I can't help it. There's so many good films with other Trek actors in it. It's a madness. But we are not here to do that. We are here to talk. We are here to sing. We are here to sing about Subspace Rhapsody. Well, by the way, welcome to Star Trek Trek, the ongoing review series of Star Trek as it happens. I am Captain Lydell. I'm joined here by Auto, Stars, and Shy, and we are eating Chinese and also
we're doing our best Brad Pitt.
We are doing our best Brad Pitt and talking about the latest and only musical Star Trek has done, possibly. Closest to a full musical.
Well, officially produced.
Yes.
The best one so far.
Yes, the first official production that was almost Khan-related, but not quite as Khan-related as maybe some off-Broadway productions. In that regards, we have invited Shai here to talk about this. Where do we start with this episode? Like, do we want to go break by break songs, or do we want to talk about the plot? I feel like I'm in a bit of a miss to where to begin.
I think Auto's been holding in some words for a while.
Seriously has.
Let's start with...
But hold on a minute. No, I'm joking.
Look, you only have to do that about 4,000 more times to match how many times I've done it to you. I want to hear what you get, because this was known quite a bit ahead of time. I want to hear what you thought you were going to see and how it meshed or didn't mesh with your expectations before we delve into the specifics. And Idol, you start this time.
Oh, do you know what? Honestly, I didn't know, because I knew, we knew that Christina and Celia had the singing chops on the show. We knew they've long history of singing over the last decade or so. But honestly, I had no idea what they were going to do. Whether it was going to be a more sort of traditional sort of Les Mis style musical, or whether they were going to try and do something more like Renty, or whether they're just going to go off the wall and just start singing the Star Trek theme song over and over again, like for 40 minutes. I don't know. And I didn't know whether they were going to do the whole thing sung. Or, I just hadn't got a clue. It was one of those things I didn't really have any expectations going up to it. I was just waiting to see kind of what happened. Stars?
So I was really hopeful, because there was that initial leak of all the episode titles, and then they had Subspace Rhapsody at episode 9. I was like, that sounds like a musical. And there were rumblings that it was going to be a musical. And I was like, I never had an expectation that it was going to be bad, because as far as I'm concerned, there are no bad Strange New Worlds episodes. There's only episodes I don't enjoy as much. Like season 1, episode 6 is the one I'm probably never going to rewatch. Well, there's one episode of Strange New Worlds that I will not compulsively rewatch. Pretty much everything else I will rewatch at least multiple times, and happily rewatch it with friends. And I don't know, I was like, what? It's been 1,000 episodes. It's about time we did a musical episode. Buffy had a good one. Xena had a good one. A lot of Joss Whedon shows have had them, actually. And it's a case of you're mixing up the format. You're trying something new. They literally said, hey, season 2, we're going to swing for the fences, and they meant it. And I'm kind of glad that they stuck to their guns. And even if it had turned out to be an absolute disaster, which as far as I'm concerned it is not, I'd have been like, cool, you gave it a shot. Now you can say you tried it, and it didn't work out, or it did. And it's that's really important for a show's health, I feel like. That's the problem that Berman era Trek fell into really quickly, was we're going to do the exact same format with minor variations for nearly 20 years. And guess what? You get really fucking sick and tired of it after a little while. And that's when you start getting season 1 and 2 of Enterprise, where you get straight up recycled Voyager and TNG plots. And it's not good for the health of your show to do that. So even if this has been a complete crash and burn, I'd be like, cool, you're trying something different. Try something different rather than not, is always my my maxim.
So we have Shai on the show, who is Shatner reincarnate. And you're next up, by the way.
Okay.
And I was thinking if we could give you an even cooler nickname than what you have, because you're Shai and you're Shatner, but then I thought, we probably shouldn't call you Scheitner, because that doesn't really imbue you with the respect that I think.
What about Shatner porn? Oh no.
So, what were you expecting, and did it match or alter your expectations?
I mean, I was really looking forward to the episode. I knew it was coming in advance. I'd really appreciated how much the showrunners of Strange New Worlds were just taking huge swings. Starting with the first season with Elysian Kingdom and a Spock amok, and showing that they weren't afraid of comedy. They weren't
pushing the envelope,
of just having fun with the show. and it's not even a case of like one for you and one for us and one for them, right? In terms of the creative process, a lot of directors and producers, like, they do like that deep indie film, and then they do one big commercial movie, like one for us, one for them. But because they balance commercial appeal and sort of fun and artsiness almost perfectly well on this show. I really like the episode. I mean, I have some quibbles with some of the songwriting. I think I said this. I'll just repeat what I had said to folks online. Like in a real show, in most like Broadway, off-Broadway musical shows, they spend years sort of refining the music and testing the songs out and going through reading after reading after reading, and they have the luxury of time of editing, right? Like, this song works. I love this song, but we got to let it go because it doesn't make sense narratively. We're going to bring back this song. Like, there's famous instances of songs that are recycled, right? Like, there's Be a Clown and Make 'Em Laugh from Singing in the Rain, which was Be a Clown from another musical that they just redid for Singing in the Rain.
Oh, yeah, there are entire songs that got cut out of musical of Cats, and the ones that get put in depending on what version you see, which is interesting.
Right, exactly.
You mean they could have cut more songs from
Yeah.
Cats?
I love Cats. Don't fucking start with me.
Cats was my first Broadway musical I ever saw as a kid, so I have some fondness for it. But yeah. So, but overall, I really appreciate the swing and the fun they had with it. I thought the technobabble explanation for the premise was perfectly on point.
I feel, I half wonder, like,
minor quibbles with the music.
The technobabble. I'd like to go on to that because the suggestion that
Well, wait. Let Otto talk.
Sorry, Otto. Sorry.
Give his impressions of the Otto. What are your
Go.
What are your impressions?
He does this every time, but you know what? It's endearing because he just wants to talk about Star Trek, which he likes. First of all, The Magical Mr. Mistopheles is an S-tier song, and I will not be dissuaded.
It's incredible. Transcendental. Very formative for me as a young gay man, oddly enough.
Shocking.
I know. Well, that and Rum Tum Tugger as well.
No, I won't go there. Okay, so I heard this, and I do like musical theater, and I have a brief history with it. But I'm also Trek traditionalist, so I thought, I'm going to like this episode, but it's going to feel wrong. It's going to not feel like Star Trek to me. So I sat down and watched. This was the third time I watched it right before we... And like you started to touch on, and we'll get to, the Technobabble actually was more than sufficient. I'm like, you know what? This is a Star Trek episode. It kind of makes sense, most of all. And I'm like, I hate this. This is terrible. There's so many things that I don't like about it. We finished it. I'm like, I hope I never watch that again. But you know what's really frightening about musical theater? If you drink enough of it, you begin to like it. And the second time I watched it, I'm like, you know what? This actually isn't bad. And the third time I watched it, I turned these guys down so I could focus on it. Normally we do our banter and stuff. I was pretty quiet. I'm like, all right, this is. I started looking through the old grades. I'm like, is this a 1? Is this a flat 1? Would I rather watch The Last Outpost than this? I'm like, oh yeah, I love the energy whips. And then the more you watch them, I'm like, actually, it's rising. It's slowly rising. So we'll get into that. And I know, because I've panned Discovery before, Stars and Idol like to jump on me. Oh, you're so negative. It's because I'm a traditionalist, and this is the farthest thing from it. But that doesn't mean that there aren't redeeming qualities. And I know I'm not going to sell some of the real staunch TOS diehards that don't want to watch it. But, everything should be watched once in the Star Trek realm.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that.
Talking about I found the Technobabble a bit... I mean, the way they could have done this episode, I didn't feel merited it. I feel like them just saying, it's an improbability field, anything could happen, just felt a little bit cheap. It's like, we found an anomaly, we poked some music into the anomaly, and now we're all singing. It felt like they just kind of like scrambled something down and just went, it was the solution to fit the crime, essentially. It was, I felt like it could have been done a very different way, maybe a hallucination or like an alien interpreting what people are saying as songs or something along that route. I just found it a little I don't know. Is it weird that I found it a little too Star Trekky just because that's what Star Trek does? Like, we have a problem and we have a
Yes, that is
scientific
weird.
solution.
Sorry, that is weird.
I don't know. I don't know.
Look, the song is Anything Goes. It's right there.
Yeah.
That's the song they sent into the fold, and that's what they got.
And that is what they got. No, it's fine.
And the thing is, it's not that, like, it's specifically the fact that they say, we are keyed into a specific reality where this always happens. It's like, we set in a frequency, we've got a countering frequency that we are now keyed on that plane. That's the actual problem. It's not just that, we keep on flipping through realities and, like, we happen to keep on landing on the musical one. It's nuts.
Yeah,
if that had been the example, I'd be like, that'd be stupid. That we should, like, Mbenga said, we should have turned into bunnies or, like, been turned animated again. But as it is, I'm like, no, this makes perfect sense. We're keyed into a specific plane of reality where this always happens.
Which is bizarre, but then we also have the Q, so I can't complain too much about that.
Well, it's a multiverse theory. Like, the instant any choice is made, another choice is made in infinite realities, and eventually you reach the point where and then suddenly it's like, cool, one where I enter into a song, and then suddenly someone else breaks into a song.
I know, I know it would break canon, but it would have made a lot more sense for Q to turn up and go, hey, you guys are just singing now, and I'm just going to...
Look, they had more of a train thing going on.
I know,
Yeah,
but
right.
He could have been, like, in the background somewhere just going, I'm going to make you sing, Snap, and like that, I don't know, a jokester trickster would have made it kind of a bit more appealing
for this
to me.
fan base. All it would take is one frame of Delancey in the background of some random shot, and all the fan theories, all the internet talk would have spun it all together and made it make perfect sense for the doubters. That's all you need is like one frame of John,
Delancey.
and it would have been.
And that's what he's got. He was behind the imperfect reality, and it's spawned Trelane, and there
So,
you go.
I agree with you a little bit. I thought they did enough to flesh it out, and it doesn't really bother me, but it's one of several things that kind of bothers me about meshing musical theater with sci-fi. There's that. There's the requiring the 344 gigawatts requires, a big ensemble showstopper number. That's just a little bit much for me. The fact that it's the longest runtime of the series, which is needed for all the music, but on the other hand, it's also one of the riskiest out of norm episodes in all of Star Trek. And so you're making that one the longest. So all those little things kind of add up where it's like, it just doesn't fit to me to feel like... It just doesn't feel natural enough.
There was an interview recently with Anson Mount and Rebecca Romaine where they said, we were having to come in on Sundays to make this work. Like, we had to put massive overtime in because there was a lot to do. Like, this wasn't just like rehearsals for the show. There's rehearsals for the songs and making sure everyone's coordinated and choreography. This wasn't the usual, stand here and deliver X line. They had a lot of overtime to do. So this being the longest runtime as well means that, shows that they put the extra.
I can imagine that trying to do all that dance choreography as the final number on the bridge meant a lot of people bumping into railings and hurting their knees.
Yeah. I mean, have that problem normally. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, normally you have like weeks, if not months, to rehearse a musical, and they had to fit it into their.
Well, they would have had
production schedule,
a couple of weeks, wouldn't they? So yeah, this wouldn't have been part of their normal routine.
Yeah. What's amazing is that the producers took this swing before season 1 aired, right?
Yeah.
Like they're like, we're gonna do this because we're so confident in our show.
And I think as a cultural phenomenon, it's
alternatively, they're letting us film 2 seasons back to back. Fuck it, I've always wanted to do this. If we go down in flames, I can at least say I did it. That's the side of it. So that's kind of what I do.
That is the strength of people watching Anson Mount. They know they will watch him do anything. That is the strength of Strange New Worlds. People watch Discovery Season 2 and they just went, we could do anything with this. Like, people will watch because they love the Mount.
Yeah.
They love the
But as I said during the watch along, like my main issue is there's a certain sameness to the songs because they're all monologue songs. You have a very large cast and everyone's being very well developed over the course of the season. So you have each individual bridge crew having to have a monologue song, and they still left people out, like the secondary characters out. Yeah, I would have liked a little bit more variety in terms of genre of song and style of song.
A lot of the quick shout out to Tom Paulson, Kay Hanley, who were the composers for this musical as well. Should have said that at the start. Look,
the songs are really good, but they're all the same style of like.
It's
inner
not just the style
songs.
as well. There is a lot of repeating chord routine, sort of modes and how they go across them. Like Private Conversation is, the whole, that is essentially the exact same as the very start of the song, which is the intermixed chamber.
I mean, doesn't that make sense for the technobabble that they've settled on, where it's literally a pattern is established?
I'm not. Like, from an in-universe perspective, they are like it makes kind of sense, but from a musical perspective, I would have liked each song to have been a bit more unique. Now, bearing in mind they were up against a TV schedule, like, they don't have much time to write these songs and get them together. There is a lot of repetition. There are a lot of diminished chords in there. There's a lot of going up to the third and then going into the major. There's a lot of repeating sort of musical things that I picked up and went, this is there's one songwriting style.
For me, it's like when I think of, because there's like kind of like broadly we're talking about like musical variety. You've got on the one hand I'm thinking of like something like Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, where like there is a certain continuity amongst the songs where they are very different from each other, but they are still they are roughly the same style. I guess I would say they are different songs, but they're in different. Whereas then you've got like musicals like Moulin Rouge, where you literally couldn't have more different styles of song, where you go from El Tango del Roxanne to Come What May to Diamond Dogs, whatever.
But that's a cheat, because that's a jukebox musical of other.
Well, yeah, but it's still a different style, right? And if you're talking about musical variety, so for me, the fact that this is inherently a retro futurist 60s inspired show. And then I'm watching the songs and like, yeah, they're all broadly along the same chord structures. They all sound like vaguely kind of like that unified sound kind of makes more sense to me. And then you get a broad, very different style from the Klingons because they have a very different style. Like that kind of makes just sense to me. Well, yeah. And that makes coherence to me.
Technobabble should be there to serve the story. The story shouldn't be slave to the Technobabble. So the only one that really worked, the only repetition that really worked for me was the Spock Chapel one.
That kind of made sense, yeah.
Because they're both about the relationship and they're coming at it from their each, and it was different enough that it wasn't just a reprise. So
yeah, and even in like La'an's song has very similar chord patterns to Uhura's song and and the finale as well. They are kind of built the same way, not like sort of structure, but just sort of how, and you can tell it, and this is, you can tell the composer's hand behind it, and that's fine. Everyone has their style. AC/DC have been writing the same song for 50 years and they're making millions, so that's not a problem. But I felt it's you get, but then it makes the odd ones like Connect With Your Truth, which is completely different to everything else in the set. Like, it's very much a Mary Poppins style jaunty number. Stands out
it's
a lot more. Like, compared to some of
because it's like I was saying, like, Keeping Secrets is a very much more intimate and kind of warm. Well, at that point, it's like, okay, cool, all the songs are similar except for the ones that aren't, which there are multiple.
Which there are about two.
Well, so
because it's like, you got the Julie Andrews number, you've got more of almost a patter song with Private Conversation. Keep Us Connected is a way more like broad sweeping number.
But they share
and then it's like
commonalities. Like, We Are One shares literally the same chords in a different key to Una's song, and they're literally the same breakdowns as they walk through the chords and go. Like, literally, that is in Uhura's song, and it is in the finale as well. So, which again makes sense because she's keeping us connected. She found the pattern. Now she's using the pattern to solve the problem. Makes sense. But again, just personally, and I'm not even talking storyline wise, I'm just thinking like I would have liked a bit more variety in the songs. So I feel like they are their own thing as opposed to like a connecting in structure. But I will paraphrase that to say that I fucking hate musicals for that very same reason.
Yeah. He says this, by the way, listeners. Idol is playing the piano that you're hearing throughout this episode.
I have learned all these songs. I have sat and I've learned all these songs. So, like, give me some credit.
After the first watch through, I couldn't remember anything about any of the songs except for the clever wordplay on Spock's. And so I was a musician for a couple, 15, 20 years. I'm not anymore, but it's like, usually you watch a movie, you have a song that gets stuck in your head, something like that. None of these stuck with me. So you guys are kind of debating the ins and outs, but you've also been religiously listening to all of them for the last week. From a viewer's perspective, I don't think most people, they might get one stuck in the head, but they really are quite samey. So
I haven't actually. I didn't re-listen to many of these songs after the episode.
Let me clarify. I found there are songs I do really like here. Like, I am criticizing the chord structure and things like that but it doesn't mean I don't like them. Like there are some here that I really, really, really do like. So, and they have, like you say, like I listened to it the first time and I kind of went, I don't really like this as much. But as I've sat and I've learned all the music, there are some like, and we'll talk about this. We'll go through song by song. But like Uhura song, I really like now. Like that's not common for myself. But sorry, guys, go on.
I think the only one that I didn't like for one reason or another was the Showstopper. So.
Oh really? I love this finale. Actually.
I mean, I did love the Klingon part, but the
Sean's
rest
like,
of it,
don't come and see
we'll
Khan,
get
don't
to
see
it.
Khan. You guys, no, maybe you shouldn't come.
Well, yeah, it's not a musical without a showstopper, but it's just all the little tent poles of it that bothered me. So,
Well, let's go.
By the way, the first line of Khan the musical did mention Klingon disco boy bands.
Did
It's
it
like in
really?
the first line of our
Oh,
musical. It absolutely
wow.
did.
God.
It was like musical theater. Is it a 400-year-old art form that went the way of disco and boy bands and Klingon disco boy bands? That's the first line of our show.
That's amazing.
So when that popped up, I screamed. Yeah.
we'll cover this in the season review, but can we talk a second how episode 6? I know you don't like it, Stars, but it was fairly classic Star Trek in terms of storytelling. Episode 7 was a huge risk, where we had the crossover with Lower Decks. Episode 8, dark, gritty, intense, and then here with episode 9, forget the whiplash for a second, but like those are just 4 very distinct ones, and a good portion of it landed for a good portion of the viewers. So I don't know if it's the showrunners or the directing or the writing, but something is just really clicking with Strange New Worlds that they can do almost any genre. And I do hate that for a little bit, because I was like, are you guys afraid of doing strong sci-fi? Because you can knock sci-fi out of the park. So we're getting a lot of different stuff, and it's mostly all pretty good stuff. So I don't know. Do you guys like that? Do you guys want them to stick to 1 or 2 things, or what?
I think it's nice we're getting something different, like because they are doing the Trekkie tropey episodes with like we've been to a planet and we've solved the mystery, like in season 1 when Pike had his affair with a woman that kills children. That was a very sort of atypical standard Star Trek episode, and season 2 definitely does feel like it. We are playing with different toys right now, and now we kind of have this break between season 2 and 3 due to the writer's strike. I can definitely see them looking at feedback and going, people like this, people didn't like this. Maybe Strange New Worlds will be a bit more Twilight Zone and less Next Generation. And now
like writers don't stop writing. Writers don't stop writing during the writer's strike. Like they're going to be coming up with ideas
more time to sit and go through
to
things
come up with weird stuff.
Hell yeah, it's going to get real weird. Shall we do song by song and get opinions and have some more arguments? And then we'll really fight this out, because I feel like we're already at each other's feet here. Okay, let's start.
Can you put the song list? Can you put the song list in? I'll look it up. Never mind.
No, it's fine. Obviously, I'm not going to play the songs right now because it'll get copyright struck to death. But I have the piano. I can go through some refrains of it. The opening song, Status Report. Spock in engineering starts singing. Guys, what did we think about this? Like, bear in mind, this is now your first exposure to the musical.
I think it's a great intro. I'll jump in. I'll cut in line there.
No, go for it. Don't just listen to me play piano. Please talk over.
It's so entrancing.
Yeah. So
someone did. The person I was watching with said, "Why I wasn't expecting Spock to be the first one singing," and it does kind of work, because then if you didn't know what you were in for, that kind of sets the mood for everything.
It's a good one, because it kind of sets the stage. And what surprised me was, because like I said before, like I assumed this was going to be people just singing and not being conscious about it. Almost breaks the fourth wall in their reality a little bit, because they're singing about, why are we singing, what's going on, we're checking all the systems, like everything's fine. Like Lan comes out like, security detects no threats, so it's all fine, what's going on? And then Pike's like, why are we singing? And I kind of like that, in a kind of, they're being very self-aware about this weird thing that's going on.
See, and that's the one thing. Well, not the one thing. It's the thing I didn't like, though. I would have preferred it if more like Mind Control, where maybe other people who aren't singing are aware of what they're doing, but that they just throw themselves into it, which is why Lon's song, which we'll get to later, is the one I like the most. Not musically, but she buys it, so I buy it. And it's really, she throws herself into it. We even get to see sort of the daydreams inside her mind as she sings. And I really like that it sort of adheres to itself instead of being a nudge, wink, wink.
Yeah, I found, just to keep talking about the episode as a whole, I found a lot of the musical numbers sort of under-directed and under-choreographed. Completely understandable given the restraints of, a television production schedule, especially during the pandemic. If you look at the behind the scenes on this episode, like everyone's in masks when they're not performing. Sure, everyone's having to do takes every single day. They probably had limits on the number of background actors and dancers and singers they could have set at any given. But yeah, I like this song, this intro song. I think it completely fulfills its assignment, right? It understands the gig, gets everyone in.
Should we rate them? Should we give them a number?
Yeah, I thought we were going to. Are we cheering them?
You start us up. What would you give this one?
Well, hold on. Before we get to the rating, I believe this is the point in which you see Ortegas and Mitchell doing the sort of choreographed stuff with their console. And I thought that was going to lead to a little bit more in-sync movement stuff going forward, which I think I would have appreciated.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, go on. What did you give it, Shai? What would you give the sound out of a nice crisp 10?
I give this one, 10 being the best one of the episode, not like a best song ever. Like, I'm rating these in relation to the rest of the episode. So I'll say
we're not comparing it to, like, Mozart or anything. This is just like within the episode, like, what are your best and worst ones, essentially.
Yeah. 8. I give it an 8.
8.
Good lead off.
Interesting. Okay. Stars?
I'd probably go along with an 8. Yeah, I think it's a nice ensemble song that it sets your expectations and everyone gets a little bit to do. I appreciate the all system stable refrain at the end. I appreciate it on. It's nice. I feel like it comes together really quite nicely.
Also?
But why are we singing?
Good. As your mission statement. There you go.
You go, Isle. I'm trying to find the list of songs here so I can try to rate them against each other.
I probably would say an 8 as well. I like a bold statement when they're starting off on a minor. Most a lot of musicals, a lot of people, well, Les Mis not included, Miss Saigon as well, but like a lot of songs try and, especially in TV realm, try and start on a happy note. But this is more confused. What is going on? What is happening? And I kind of like that. That kind of sets a mood almost. And I can't remember who I was talking to. I think was it you, Stars, was talking about this? And I say this feels very much like the start of Les Mis. Da 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 da. It's that kind of very similar sort of opening overture almost.
Well, yeah, because you do have to kind of talk about the origins of musical theatre, which is all descended from opera, in which you had your two dominant styles, which is aria and recitative. And then with aria, it's the big expression of your feelings, which is what modern opera, operetta, and then musicals kind of derives from. And that's your big expression of feelings. That's your high points, essentially. And then you have recitative, which is probably the reason why people don't like opera very much anymore, is because it's frankly boring and flat. It's dialogue and exposition delivered in a sing-songy style, and that can sometimes work depending on if you're into that kind of thing, which like Les Mis does, and how much you like Les Mis will kind of determine how your tolerance for that style. But yeah, no, I feel like it fits within both of those styles almost. Like it's a little bit of both.
Go on, Otto.
So I'd probably give us a 9 then. I think musically it's my favorite. It's probably the one that's stuck in my head now after 3 watches the most. So I kind of like it.
Okay. How about Connect with Your Truth? The very no, sorry. No. Oh, I've forgotten the lyric. It's such a weird rhythm. It's like a little 3/4.
Take some advice from your future.
The title credits.
Yeah, it's very And I think I got the chords wrong in my playthrough as well. So it's a tricky little 3/4 number, but I kind of really liked it. My nitpick with this song is it's our first interaction between James T. Kirk and Una Chin-Rai in number 1, two kind of very iconic characters in Star Trek. I would have liked this to be a whole episode by itself of Kirk shadowing Una and then making mistakes and things like that, and their different styles and having a conversation. This is kind of something I would have liked to have seen very expanded, but I did appreciate the interaction all the same. And now you talk.
Shall we maintain the order for all of these? So
Let's do that, yeah. Shall I?
Yeah.
Oh, am I second in this order? Well, really, the second song is the semi-acapella opening credits, but that's just great. I expressed my complaint during the watch along. This is a cute little sort of like Julie Andrews type song, but as we learn from Short Trek's, number 1 loves Gilbert and Sullivan. So why is this not a Gilbert and Sullivan-esque Hatter song?
Because the internal logic of the musical is not the song that you want to sing; it's the song that you feel like you must sing. That's, I feel like, the distinction.
We're singing
again. No, I love that.
It makes me confess things I never express. I liked it. It was a fun
but it's solid. I give it a 7.
Stars?
I'd give this a 7. I don't like it quite as much as Status Report, but I think I appreciate the dancing and the little waltzing. I appreciate the Rodgers and Hammerstein style to it. It's very Sound of Music. And while I can understand the complaint that, maybe a Gilbert and Sullivan song would have made a bit more sense for Una's character, I feel like this is maybe something that was a bit more suited to both Rebecca Romijn and Paul Wesley singing. Because I'm not sure if Paul Wesley has any singing experience. I'm not sure if Rebecca Romijn is just an enthusiast or not. In which case, at some point, you have to make a compromise for what your characters are actually capable of when they're not trained singers like Christina Chong or Celia Rose Gooding. You have to make allowances for that. And you were talking about how this is a very simple musical structure. It's also a very easy and simple song to sing. These are not complicated lyrics, and they're not designed to be, because it's in that Rodgers and Hammerstein style. So I feel like, in terms of pitching at that, it makes perfect sense. So I give it a happy 7.
Happy 7.
All the more reason for a patter song. If they can't sing, then just have them talk sing.
Pelia and Spock should absolutely have had a scientific patter song. I wanted that, but I didn't get it, and it's like,
absolutely,
yeah. Like I absolutely. But it's a case of, we were already talking about 60 minutes and God knows how much music being paid for external songwriters for a swing for the fences. I can't imagine that they were like, "Can we get a 2-hour?" And they're like, "No." We're already paying for an animated intro. We're already paying for a pop chorus to the acapella. You're not getting a fucking 2-hour musical with 20 different songs. We're not paying for that.
Oh wait, this is number 1 on the iTunes charts. They're absolutely getting that in season 3. There's going to be a whole number. I'll go for 7. I say 7 as well. It's fun little thing. Auto?
So more than half of the songs were about relationships, and we had 3 different relationships running through the episode, which would, I suppose, fit for the musical, but not for a Star Trek episode. That's too much of that for me. So the fact that it's not that is kind of a point in its favor. The fact that it's not, I think, as Shai called an angsty monologue, is a point in its favor. I would have liked it later in the episode, though. Maybe after La'an's one. How would that feel? Because it would be there, I think, to break up some of those relationship blocks that we had throughout the episode. So there's not much to it, but I think it's kind of needed amongst all the other songs. God, see, I hate being. I sound unoriginal as the 4th one because we're all like, oh, they're all 8s. This one's all 7. But I guess I'll say 6. I didn't love it, but I thought it's nice to have that one in the mix, maybe a little bit later.
Okay. Well, how would that feel? Did you just hear that right? Yeah, that one. There you go. The La'an song of her coming to terms with Kirk. Now, this one is actually probably the first song in the running order that requires a little bit of prior knowledge, because you would have had to known about her in Tomorrow. And I feel this feels the most musical of all the numbers, if I was to be honest, because this is kind of the I Dreamed a Dream. I'll keep going back to Les Mis, but it's really the only musical I know. It's the I Dreamed a Dream of the ensemble. How did we find this one? Shy.
When did the child inside you die?
I think when I had two of my own.
There you go.
Don't let them see this one.
Just for context, I used to work in the theatre, darling, and I used to spend pretty much 4 nights out of 7 watching musicals over and over again, but not just that, musicals sung by people that couldn't sing. So that's kind of soured me somewhat on musicals.
You're at the wrong theater. This song,
not kidding.
I felt this song was a little too long. Very under-directed visually. It's very dark. Most of it is a single shot of Christina Chong just from the shoulders up.
Which some of us are fine with, by the way.
Yeah, which is fine. Look, she's stunning to look at. Absolutely. It needed like a more of a music video director's sensibility with this sort of style of song to be done. I'm gonna rate this like also a 7. Performance 10. Right? She has that quality of voice that kind of raises goosebumps on your skin, especially when she hits those sort of like high Disney like I want to be part of that world like longing aspects of the song. Performance 10, but like 6 or 7 for me in terms of the actual song.
Stars,
and more importantly, the way it's shot.
Easy 9 for me. So we're talking about our various different introductions to musicals. Guess what? I watched a shit ton of Disney musicals. I watched a shit ton of the Disney Renaissance era musicals, in which case that is musical language to me. And you're talking about like the underselling of visual language. And while that is true, I keep on going back to Beauty and the Beast for this number, because I think of like Belle, Belle's opening number in the village, but also the little small number that she has when she's going back to her house. And the visuals in that are literally just, I'm in a field, I'm twirling around, there are sheep. There's nothing complicated about it. It's all about, I believe her name is Paige O'Hara, the singing voice for Belle in the 90s original animated version. And it's purely sold on her vocal performance. And there's a great detail I love in that in the Belle song, where you can hear her smiling on some of the lines, and it gives that performance just such a texture to it. And I feel like Christina Chong kind of brings some of that texture here, where it's like, this is not just a song, it is an actual emotional performance, and I completely buy it. And it the best musical songs, I feel like, put you really into the headspace of that character and what they're feeling and how they're feeling it and why they're feeling it. You could throw someone into this, and even if you haven't watched Tomorrow, even if you haven't watched all the episodes covering her backstory with the Gorn, I can completely relate to this. I can completely relate to being alone in a crowded room and this feeling of, I want to reach out, but I don't know how. Like, this is part of the reason why I like Magic to Make the Sanest Man Go Mad. It's like Burnham was dealing with this exact same feeling of, I don't know how to reach out and connect in this way. And then you just throw in Christina Chong, doing nuclear blasts with her fucking high notes of just, it might. Yeah. Like, the yearning in that is so strong. So I'm actually going to give this a 9. I love this song. It's great.
I'm leaning at an 8. I feel it just goes on a bit too long. There is 1 or 2 refrains that didn't I think it's the part when she then goes, they hit the D's and go. I think, oh, fine, it's the end of the song. Maybe they'll do another chorus, but no, they kind of go into another different section as well. It's like, oh, okay, well, she's really going for this. Okay, she's really pent up. But other than that, I really like that chorus lick. It is very. It feels emotional, and Christina Chong is just awesome at it. So I'm happy to give that an 8. Auto.
And this wouldn't feel too long in a full musical. This would make this song length would be perfectly fine in a full musical, but because in relation to having so many other songs and so little dialogue in this episode. It just feels.
It is one of 4 that go over 4 minutes, so it's not like
Really?
it's the longest by far. So if we're rating all the songs, and you got to have 1, you got to have a 10. This is the 10 for me.
Wow.
And I agree with everything you said, Shai, about the drawbacks, but it kind of doesn't matter because this is what I wanted from a musical Star Trek. I don't want the fourth wall breaking. I don't want the wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I want people who are buying into what they're doing so that I can buy into what they're doing. And this was it for me. All of her stuff with Paul Wesley from her end has been phenomenal, I think. And, to the point where you're kind of like a squee, when you see the relationship stuff and you really enjoy, you find yourself grinning at the screen kind of stuff. So
you're so mad at this, Kirk. You're so mad at this, Kirk.
Oh, we haven't even started. I'll fucking tear into him later. But so I do like it, and it didn't need to be perfect as a song for it to be perfect for the episode, which I think it was. So I liked it a lot.
Okay. How about can we just have a private conversation about our frustration?
See, the thing is, the hurricanes keep us connected to an earworm, and it is, but this is the actual ultimate earworm. Like, although you said that, like, you didn't have any earworms coming out this episode, I was immediately going, this is a private conversation. I was just, like, immediately in my head. It's just so good. Sorry, but you go.
Yeah, it very much is. But I think it is an earworm because in your head, and I didn't expect this, they were just going, this is a private conversation about, and it is almost that patter. It is the repetition that just
it's close to it. Yeah.
Go on, Shai.
He's a man. He's a music man. He's a what? It's exactly like it's perfect, right? Yeah. It's that first number for Music Man.
Right here in River City, well, sure, my Billy Pillis, mad proud to say it, always mad proud to say it.
Exactly. It's a conversation. That's why I love patter songs, and that's what this is. It's really well performed by both of them. They're in the moment, but they're clearly also having fun with it a little bit. The reactions of all the people in the crew, like being simultaneously mortified. Erica Ortegas, of course, loves it. She's there for the tea. She's started to eat popcorn like at the helm control as the song's going on. So I'm giving it a 9. I mean, and Anson Mounts, he's just his this season he's been in a reduced role just because of having the newborn, but what he brings is amazing.
He's very tired. He's got that desperate energy.
It's making me sweat.
Sweat.
What would you give it?
Great. Rebecca Romaine's great. 9. I'm giving it a 9.
9.
A 9.
Okay. Stars?
Yeah.
I'd give this an 8.5. I know for some reason we don't like decimal places here. I have to. Guess what? I'm always a fan of decimal places. I literally had to knock off a point and a half just because it gets cut off. I would have loved to see this get like a little bit longer because it is, I think, probably the shortest song on the thing.
Like 22 seconds.
Wow.
Oh wow, is it really that short?
Wow.
Shortest by 22 seconds.
Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I was like, there's no way this is 22 seconds. But yeah, it has the right cadence. It ties in directly into the emotional arc. It's got that patter down. It's just got the right rhythm. It's the kind of thing that you can just drop into a private conversation. Like, it has that hypnotic quality to it. It's like, this is it's an 8.5 easy. If this was a full song, I'd happily bump up to a 9 or a 10, actually. I really love it. This is something
I'm going to be doing a lot, because I go to the Star Trek convention this weekend. Yeah. If someone comes up and is like, excuse me, this is a private conversation about our frustration. I'm just going to be quoting that all the time.
Instant meme.
I'd also maybe give it an 8. I think I give it an 8 or an 8.5. I think I'm with that. It is too short, but I kind of really love the cutoff for the comedy value.
It's hilarious.
For fuck's sake, did you not realise what I was just saying in the turbo?
Someone just stop drinking the tea.
Yes, like come on. And the fact he's down on his knees, like mid-song, just kind of going, it's happened again, hasn't it? That was.
Well, it's also when he turns around and Uhura has to avert her eyes and make it look like she's doing something.
Everyone look busy. Yeah, I'll go 8.5. It's good comedy. Auto.
I'm going to bump Status Report back down to an 8 from a 9. and most people don't care, but I'm sure Idle has this already in a spreadsheet somewhere. I do that to make room for this in 9 because it's fun. It makes sense to the story. There is a little bit where he's not the best singer, so that's why they gave him a short one. But you can excuse it.
But
anyway.
He's throwing himself into it so much.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's why you kind of buy it, because he can definitely be goofy, which Jeff Hunter, I don't know if he could ever even crack a smile, but and again, well, because it's so short, it's the only one that I really wanted more of. He drops to his knees, and one of the people I was watching just started clapping. They're like, and they were laughing and clapping, like, this is so good. And then it stops right away. And you're like, oh. So, I didn't love the repetition because I thought it made it a little bit too simple. Because it would work in a full one, but if you only have a minute and a half of that and 50 seconds is then like repeating the same 2 lines, it just, But we're not.
There's
I'm
also
not
in character for them both. They're both Starfleet captains who have to project a certain aura. So like they're trying to break out of the song by saying, "No, this is a private conversation." Like I feel like
I'll let you guys grade it musically because you're far more qualified than I am. But just in terms of fitting the story and a great humor element, I loved it. So 9.
Okay.
Yeah, they cut it off before like everyone else on the bridge could start doing the whisper patter. Like,
this
is an odd demonstration.
So you know what? we need to get this and turn it into a Broadway musical by adding another hour's worth of material. I feel like you could easily do that. Let's get our Sam Kirk number. Let's get that Sock Pellier Patterson.
We did have we had West Side Sam when he's snapping along in Chapel's number. So
West Side Sam. Okay, how about the one with the misfitting intro there? Oh no, not good. Yeah, the keeping secrets with Una as she's spinning in low gravity around singing to Lan about how you should just tell the man. How do we find this track? Shy.
I was not a huge fan of this track either. I don't know what to say about it. Like the like as you said, Otto mentioned this during the watch along. The intro doesn't quite fit with the actual song. It's sort of a romantic choreography.
It's like an R&B almost intro, and then
they're floating with each other in anti-gravity. It's another like, and I'd say this is the weakest song of the show for me. So this is a 6.
So go on, Daz.
I'm actually going to break pattern here. I'm going to say that this is an 8 for me. I had to knock off 2 points because there are some really awkward word choices. Like I simultaneously really like this song, but the way that it just goes stomps to a halt at "You've got lots of," and then it's like a fucking a shoe full of bricks fell down.
It's like every note had to be a half note in the song, or they wouldn't ship it.
Yeah, but I think that Rebecca Romaine sells it. I think that as a character moment between these two characters, it's really important. Because if you think about the emotional content of it, it's actually a really tragic song. It's literally like, hey, I lived my life having to conceal who I really was to everyone I've ever loved. And I've only just been able to start telling the truth. That's tragic and awful. And yeah, it may protect you for a little while, but in the end, you're going to end up alone. And I wish I had never I had never developed the skill. I wish I had never learned to grow a thick skin. I wish I had never been forced to be someone who I wasn't. And you shouldn't have to do that either. I want something better for you.
It's like on the back
that's
of
why I don't
Astra,
interpret it as romantic. It's gentle. Yeah, it's totally. It's absolutely. It's the codification of her entire character arc. And even her conversation with Pellier about Hemmer and the allowance to feel and connecting to your crew. It's literally it's the complete musical arc of her character. And that's why I'll completely allow all the slightly stompy lyrics, because it's a nice sum up of her thing, and it's a nice reaching out moment. I appreciate when characters who are emotionally closed off and who don't allow themselves to be vulnerable allow themselves to make that gesture and reach out to someone who they care for. And that's really important thing for Lan to learn, because we literally just come off of the heels of, how would that feel? And it's like, I'm literally telling you, it would feel freeing. It's a conversation with that song. It's like, here's my thesis statement. Here's Una saying that's bullshit, and that's why I like it.
But how do you rhyme relate to? So thwart you with relate to. It's just instead of support you.
Like, if it's a character-based
you
for me,
it's right
the
there.
emotional content, that's why I say they literally 2 points knocked off for clunky word choices, but like the emotional content and the performance absolutely sells it for me. And I also appreciate the callback to Under the Cloak of War with the cut to Mbenga and the knife. I appreciate that. That's really.
Another missed Sweeney Todd opportunity. He should have been singing "This Is My Friend."
I'm gonna swing it here. I'm gonna give us our first lowest score. This is a 4 for me. Content matter is absolutely fine. Because we start off with this lovely, like almost Marvin Gaye-ish kind of intro, very kind of soul, and I'm thinking like, hey, is Una gonna come out to Lan here? Is there something going on here? Like, and actually no, it turns out. But then he just goes from this really nice to just a like. Almost like, you've got lots of thoughts to weigh through. I feel like I'm listening to a nursery rhyme a little bit. It's sort of very kind of like...
Well, that's because I feel like that's almost intentional. It's like she's bearing her soul, the soul intro, and then I'm a kind of a mother figure for Lan. I need to like make this as simple and as honest to you as I can. That's why I feel like it kind of works for me.
I can see the relation there, but yeah, it just felt a little bit plodding and a bit slow, and I appreciate you have your slow ballads, but we've got about 3 slow ballads in here, so it didn't click with myself auto.
Yeah.
See, you're gonna make me unoriginal no matter what. It's a 4 for me. The intro, and I think they close with it too, is a fucking 11. Like if Boyz II Men came out from the Turbo Lift and started singing it, I would be over the moon for this song. And
why not?
Yeah, there's a quantum slipstream thing to the 90s that brings the Boyz II Men to the ship. Ship it like that. And I got to take off more than 2 points for the word choice, because I'm like, what kind of pentameter is this? It was especially at the beginning, like where, you can let one maybe slip later on, but if I'm trying to figure out the rhyme structure at the beginning, I couldn't quite get into it. So, and then it was plotting, I felt.
See, I feel like this. You said like, oh, you guys are more like equipped to handle this as a musical, and you're actually breaking it down in musical terms. And I'm like, no, I just like the emotional content.
All the different viewpoints we bring.
Hey, we got to rub off on each other somehow.
We can do that when we meet up.
Also, so I'm salty at 2 things. One, that the song wasn't like the intro suggested.
Yeah.
And 2, I actually wanted Lan to sing to.
Yeah, that's true.
To Kirk later. I know we'll have the discussion when we get to it, but or we can have it now if you want.
But you know what? You're right. Lan should have been singing in this song. Like this should be turned into a duet. Like
that would have been good. Actually, that would have raised it. If it was going to be a kind of like almost Frozen-esque duet would have been quite good. That would have been
And the issue isn't that she had 2 songs, because Una did. So it's like.
Okay.
Can you play that hook again for me?
Oh, well,
Yeah. Oh, baby.
Welcome to Trek Time Sessions.
I just want you to know.
Oh, yeah. Okay, how about the Chapel's I'm Ready. This news really changes
You mean
everything.
the villain song, kind of?
A little bit, yeah, kind of, isn't it? It's the Ursula of the.
That's right.
It's
Poor unfortunate souls. Yeah.
She's basically like, I strung you along, and now I got a job, and I don't give a shit. I'm gonna dance and drink about
Wow.
it. Fuck you.
I feel that's a really uncharitable interpretation of it, for sure.
A little bit.
It is kind of cold, but then as she sings the last few lines about she's ready to break up with him, you can actually see on her face that it's almost like
killed her to do that.
It's the rules coming back to support the scene where it's coming out of her mouth whether she wants to or not, and she's almost like embarrassed
true.
about what she's saying.
I don't
as-
think
as
she
Spock
felt that
watches her.
before the beginning of the song. I feel like it was a case of she came
Right.
to that conclusion literally right that second.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Go on, Shy.
I mean, this is the best like produced shot number. I still had issues with. I wish the choreography was a little bit more involved, but this is the clear Fosse number. She sits down straight to the camera.
Yeah.
She sits down between two people who are obviously bunheads.
say that,
You
yeah.
can't bring in like ballet dancers and fool me as like I know those aren't actual crew. Those are freaking dancers.
You don't look Starfleet to me.
Yeah, so I'm
Yeah,
a
but you
little
get
bit-
a pass because you get like Chapel being completely gay. Like that is the gayest shot of this entire show.
Yeah, this is like the whatever Lola wants, Lola gets number of this
yeah.
of this show. She gets to do a little like stage dive ride around. She gets lifted up and carried off of from one level to another level. Spock is doing a great job of just Ethan Peck
Dying
has
inside.
that Leonard Nimoy thing of being able to convey emotion through like a stone face. He's got it, and it completely works during.
There was
this
some great
scene.
word choice before this, and he makes you feel really awkward, and he's just like, "Yes, but I'd still like to hear your explanation." And it's like, "Oh gosh," and it's like, "Well, fuck it, I'll sing." That's my explanation.
Yeah, it's a good tune. It's the lyrics are good. It's incredibly well performed. Jess Bush is killing it, even though she's not like wailing or anything the way Christina Chong.
It's a bit more breathy, really. Yeah,
yeah. That's what I mean. Yeah, it's very much like
it's a bit more Chicago number, I suppose. Really.
exactly. It's a great Fosse number. I'm giving it a solid 9.
Solid 9 stars.
Well, so while you bring up the facial stuff, even before the song started, I felt bad for Uhura when we're in the hallway, and he's like, "What can we do to trigger a song?" And she sees Chapel. She's like, "That," and you just feel bad for her because it's like don't shoot the messenger, okay? But
Yeah,
it
but
has
there's
to
also a
happen.
little bit of that it's like really enjoying it because when she
she
gets
is.
the tricorder out, she's like, "Where's this gonna go?"
She's in the harmony.
And
She's
it's
sitting there just
oh,
like going, "Yeah, this is all this angst." She's there dancing. She knows what she's doing.
yeah. But then she realized what happened. So, oh, this was
Yeah.
ill-judged.
Stars
10.
10.
I feel like as like an emotional thesis and a capstone for the Spock Chapel relationship, it absolutely makes sense. This is one of those instances where it's like they had to make this episode emotionally integral, otherwise it would be completely throwaway, really. And this is if you think about how do you get from we're in a relationship, it's kind of a relationship, we don't want to talk about Starfleet about it. We're distant, we're not quite connecting, we're trying our best, but it's not. There's a lot of wanting here, but not a lot of wanting to be here going on in this relationship in the previous episodes. And then it's a case of cool, back back to the wall. You literally can't lie.
Yeah.
How do you actually feel about this relationship, and what are your priorities? I don't feel deeply enough for you the way I thought I did. I'm afraid of commitment. I have trauma I haven't dealt with. I'm a damaged human being, and you are under-equipped to deal with me, Spock. And that's not your fault. You are not the problem, but I'm ready to leave. And Spock takes that completely the wrong way because he has no emotional frame of reference for this, and thus you end up with I don't know. I feel like you maybe have to be a bit generous to both parties here, because like it's also kind of shitty as Spock to force this, even though it is to save the ship. It's like this conversation wouldn't have gone down this way if it was just a conversation. But it's like this is how you get a private conversation about our frustration. And it's just a case of like this is how you largely get away with a guilt-free, blameless breakup between the two, where you don't feel like either one is actually the villain. Like I called it the villain song, but it's not really. It's just being honest in a brutal way, and I think it's what both of them needed at this time.
Part of the reason,
And it's just also a bop.
Yeah, it's because it's a bop, and she's twirling around with her friends and having a good time, and then Ethan is like crying with just Uhura and
he's dying
engineering.
inside.
So it's that dynamic that makes her feel like she's more heartless about it.
Yeah, but the moment you put it into the emotional context of their relationship, you're like, oh, that sucks for both of them, because it's like, there's no coming back from that. It sucks. But it's a 10.
10. I'd probably give it an 8. I enjoyed it. It was fun. There's a random bit in the middle where she just stops singing midway through half a chorus, and then they go into a big musical number. And I feel like they forgot to put the lyrics in for some reason. Don't know why I got that thought. I was just like, where's the rest?
What
and
part?
Then
that's called musical theater.
Yeah, I know.
It's called a dance break. It happens usually in the middle of a song.
Did
This
you
show could
expect
use
like a
more
guitar
dance breaks.
instrumentalist or some like six solo? Wow, no, but no. But no, I really enjoyed it. It was good. It had attitude, and I kind of liked that, and it kind of showed a little bit of the inner chapel.
It's the song that has the most edge in the entire musical,
Yeah.
which is kind of needed. And it's most, like, if you were talking about musical distinction, like the jazzy kind of villainy aspect is kind of what
I
elevates
think
it.
it might be the only one that has edge to it.
I don't know. Spot's a
valid.
bit of an edgelord in I'm the X, but we'll get to that in a minute. Also, actually, no, I didn't give my rating. Oh no, I said an 8, didn't I? Okay, auto.
You said that, yeah.
I did.
I'm a huge Ethan Bakupek stan, so the fact that she heard him takes a point off automatically. She is the villain, damn it. Yeah, like it did everything it was supposed to do, and it was different enough from all the. I'm going to keep stealing the angsty monologue songs. It had what the most choreography, sans maybe the very end of We Are One. I don't know. I didn't love it, but like on paper, it should be everything. It was everything it was supposed to be. So I guess just for me personally, it was a 7. But I can see absolutely giving it higher than that.
Now, how about for the biggest drop D in this? This people have been fascinated by this, like so. This news really changes everything. That drop, everyone's getting like that. That does things to me. Some people have been getting goosebumps to that drop. But basically,
Well, that's the backy pack.
that's the backy pack. It's the same song as Chapel's one, just a couple of transposed off a few semitones and adapted a little bit. But what do we think about I'm the X? I'm going to switch it around now. We're over halfway through. Auto first. Let's go round again.
Hold on. So I had a note written about this. I said when we were watching Spock's song lyrics are the best meld of Star Trek and musical. Someone I was watching was like, she started laughing. She's like, that's so nerdy. I'm like, well, we are watching Star Trek after all. So the solve for why stuff. And it's like, this is Spock we're talking about. He is a nerd. So favorite lyrics. Second only to Keeping Secrets, whose rhyme structure was pristine, by the way. But and I think Stars and I disagree on this. I like that it mirrored I'm Ready, because
It's that aspect of it.
it's a relationship that
It makes
that
sense to be a
involves
darker
both of
frame.
them.
It totally makes sense. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know how I feel about this one. The one thing that stands out is the wordplay. I like the lyrics the best out of all of them, by a mile probably. And so, but it was just, I don't know. It didn't do much for me musically. So that's a 6, 7, somewhere in there. 6.5. There we go. I have no strong feelings one way or the other.
There's this is I think like. Again, I like that it was the Mirror of Chapel's one. That made a lot of sense with a bit more of a brooding tone. I wasn't as keen on the fact it was a maths pun a little bit in there. I'm the X, it's the X and the Y, and the Y versus that kind of got to me and just kind of went like, that feels very almost just to me, but it just feels very tacky. But the cadence, the rhythm of like she's happy and carefree, the opposite of me. Like I love that pattern, the way the rhythm of his vocals over the underlying chords, and he does it later. It's like I'm so dysfunctional, weak and emotional.
The syncopation. He mixes it up throughout the song.
That was really good, and I think I enjoyed this despite my concerns about the lyrical content. But I'm happy to give this an 8. Like I liked this goes with I'm Ready. Like I feel like they're two of a pair. Like you have to listen to one and the other as well to kind of get the full effect of the thing. The thing I didn't like in the episode was when they broke it up with like a scene with Kirk and La'an. I felt like it should have gone straight to Spock and then he sung this. Like I feel like that would be the musical thing to do, is have the wall between them, and then you see them. Maybe they could have even sung both their parts in a kind of weird mesh of how they do it. Look, again, like in Les Mis, where people are singing each other and they're harmonizing at one point maybe as well, because an F minor is the minor third above it. No, sorry, the other way around. D is a minor third above the F minor. So it would have been really nice if they could have done something clever there, but they didn't. But it's an 8 for me. Stars.
I'm gonna be the grenade in the room. I'm gonna give this a 4.
Whoa!
Well, hold on, I've got to ask
this doesn't
you:
work for me.
are you doing 1 to 10? Because you've graded everything like on the above average.
Yeah, I'm doing 1 to 10. Like, it's literally a case
So
of
is there one coming, or is this the one?
no. This is the 1, but it's still a case of like.
Okay.
So it's literally a case of I always follow the same rating structure for everything I do. Like 5 is completely fine, average, middle of the road. 10 is my perfect. 1 is abominable. That's my rating system. That's how it broadly goes. Here's the thing. Like lyrically, I think this is very well constructed. I think this makes perfect sense as an expression of Spock's character and his emotions. The moment I realized that it was a dark refrain of "I'm ready," it's like, cool, that's an amazing thing. I love songs that echo each other. Les Mis is infamous for doing that. Idol. Les Mis is literally nothing but the exact same strong structure repeated 50 billion times. I appreciate the maths pun because, like, even though it's like a little bit cringy, I suppose. Guess what? Spock's kind of cringy. But there's just something about all these elements that doesn't quite gel for me. Like, I don't listen to this one nearly as much as I listen to literally every other song on the thing. I have all of them downloaded, but I just don't listen to this one. I don't enjoy it as a song for whatever reason. Maybe it's just me being weird because it's weird that we have in these wild swings. But that's kind of the nature of musicals. Not everything is to everyone's taste, and everyone has like a it's not even so much that it's not a bop, but it's like I appreciate a good soul-wrenching wail of grief. Like I appreciate like El Tango del Roxanne, or if you want to go more conventional pop music, I appreciate like Usher's Confessions album. But like I don't know, it just doesn't work for me. This is a 4 for me.
Ooh.
Next time you listen to this song, close your eyes and pretend that Ethan Peck is behind you in a ghost-esque, arms wrapped around you, and when he sings that low D in your ear and you feel it vibrating, maybe you'll change.
I'll get Bru to sing it for me. That'll change my opinion.
All right.
Shy.
This is a 10 for me. Much along the lines of what Otto was saying. The lyrics to me are the best. I love the wordplay. I love that it specifically does wordplay on both X and Y. So it's both a math pun and a relationship pun. These lyrics are evergreen. They stand completely separate from the episode. You don't need any context from this story for these lyrics to still work, which is like the definition of an American standard. Like doesn't have any sort of internal referential aspects to it. The sort of deep driving 80s synth beat underneath it really I really enjoyed it.
I just expect Spock to walk out in a dark trench coat, like just gonna like floppy hair. He's gonna start going for like
little
the
Pet
80s
Shop Boys.
in his little
That's why I keep on talking about El Tango de Roxanne. That's literally what happens in that section of Moulin Rouge.
Yeah, exactly. It's very much like the Roxanne song.
Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, but it doesn't go for me.
Yeah, especially with Ethan Peck's, Gregory Peck's Gene singing that low D note for Ethan. Yeah, it's a great reprise. There's a classic tradition of the reprise in musical theater, and this hits that perfectly, mirroring his lover's earlier also great song. And it's just short and it's sweet, and it tells you exactly where he is. Slightly incelish. but without the toxicity. He's just very much like, I don't know what I did wrong.
Yeah, no, I do actually have to say I really appreciate that, because the wordplay, like, idly you say it's cringy, but it's also a perfect exploration. It's like, of course Spock would conclude he's the problem. Of course he would. That's inherently a Spock thing. Like, that's we learned that in the previous episode, when it's like Chapel literally said, "You're seeing me in pain, and your only conclusion could be that you're the problem." And it's like, it's not the way it is. And he heard that and went, "I'm the problem, aren't I?" So like,
yeah. So clearly, I must go expunge all my emotions out on the on Sarek's Anvil desert.
Yeah, totally.
But like somewhere.
Colonel.
It would make a little more sense if he hadn't dated the amazingly gorgeous T'Pring before this. Like, if this was his first relationship, I think it would have made a little bit more sense. Not that it was out
Yeah,
of place.
but human Vulcan relationships are so different to Vulcan relationships. It's a different dynamic.
My thoughts go back to like the first episode where him and T'Pring are flirting at the table, like, and that kind of like he's no stranger.
That'd be a very different song. I kind of almost wish we'd gotten the T'Pring Spock song. Can you imagine? That'd be a very different thing.
Definitely could have been a Chapel and T'Pring song as well. Yeah, that could have been a
that universe still exists. The improbability universe still exists, and the Guardian Forever is out there somewhere.
Yes, that's true.
I can't wait for the Cerritos to blast this thing and also get a musical episode.
Oh my gosh, yes, that would make a load of sense. Okay, moving on. How about a pattern repeating? I find myself here all alone. Uhura's key song where she works out the patterns, deals with her own past and how she's got here and her own frustrations and the breakthrough she makes literally mid-song. Keep us connected, Auto.
You guys are going to think I'm a Philistine. I didn't like this.
You're a
and
Philistine.
I can't even explain everything why. I think the primary thing is
X.
Yeah.
Boo this man.
You should boo me. You should boo me for that. You are right to do so, sir.
I just it's I don't know, maybe because it's like trying to encompass her whole life in one go, and I prefer the songs that I don't know that address a situation or a person or that sort of thing. I just feel like it's trying to be too much at once, which might be okay for the penultimate song, and it is sort of an Uhura episode, even though it's kind of a long episode and whatnot. But so I don't know. I can't even explain why I didn't really like it. But obviously her voice is butter, as they say. So, musically it was fine. I guess I didn't like the content. So I probably threw it a 5.
It's the first 5. I really like.
You
this
really
song.
are spreadsheeting this, aren't you?
Actually, I'm not.
You
not
dork. Okay.
Could give you an average at the end. No, turns out you hate this album. No, I really like this song. There's something about the almost Madonna-esque organ at the start, feels like just like a prayer. A little bit at the start, and then breaks on. We get the nice sweet guitar with some lovely tapping on that as well. You kind of get the story, and then that breakthrough into sort of the low key. Everywhere I go, I'm so low. And she starts off low, and then by the time she brings up to the second time, she's really belting it, and it feels emotional, and it feels like this is Uhura at her best. And she's, Celia's loving this, but also feels like Uhura's loving this, which absolutely fits the pattern. I like the structure of the song as well. It dives low when it needs to, it goes high when it needs to, and it comes back with the the very typical transposed final chorus to really elevate it up. Probably slightly higher tempo as well, the typical sort of pop motif that is there. But I don't know, something about it I really, really like. And there's I think I can't remember who it was that said it when we were watching along. There was a reason they chose this one for the trailer, because it has the most catchy lyrics. This is a 10. This is a 10 for me. I don't know why I don't like music like this. I like it because it's Star Trek, and I really like this. So I'm going to go and explore some Taylor Swift or something. I don't know. I'll just put down a one Metallica CD.
I can recommend you some if you want.
Oh, here comes Frank. Late Frank. He's come to drop in. Hey, buddy. Auto, go.
Shy.
Oh, no, wait, no, Shy. Sorry, I'm going backwards. That's because my order's been mixed up.
No, it's Stars. Stars now.
Oh, is it Stars?
I believe so. For listeners, Frank is now holding up a sign with the number 1 on it. He's holding it up upside down for some reason. It's 01.
All right. Okay. That's almost the best drop ever. Stars, sorry.
It's a 10 for me. If Strange New Worlds didn't get a 3rd season, which, good God, that would literally be the worst thing I could ever hear if it didn't get a 3rd season. If it never got a 3rd season, I would literally be like, hey, this is the actual moment that you go from prequel Uhura to this is Uhura. this is the moment she metamorphizes and becomes. She grows. She is mature now. She is. You can draw a direct line between the person she is in this exact song to Nichelle Nichols' portrayal. And there's such strength in it. Like you said, like you didn't like the entire like story, the story of her life being the song. I feel like that's the most musical thing in the entire world. It's a reflection on the journey she's had, what she's learned, what she's had taken from her, and what she's ultimately gained. And there's such a strength to like this is like a really good exemplification of why musical theater works, because it's, hey, I'm going to take the exact same lyrics of I'm solo, I've got everything I need, my entire life has been fix this and save you. I'm going to sing it in two completely different ways, and they can have a completely different resonance. Like, one is, this is a burden put upon me by other people. This is my role I've been given by the universe. This is so fucking unfair. Why the hell have I been made to deal with this? What is this just my role in life? And then just a realization of, no, you know what? I'm really good at this. And if I think about it, and if I take Emma's advice of, the connections that you gain and the strength that you draw from them is worth the pain, guess what? Fix this and save you? Fuck it, I'll do it. I'll do it, and I'll thrive doing it. And I don't need anyone else to define me. I draw strength from other people and their connections, but I don't need them. And I think that's really, really strong and awesome. And I really appreciate just how fucking talented Celia Rose Gooding is at the age of goddamn 23. Like, fuck me. Oh, disgusting amounts of talent. When I was younger, I asked my dad, like, what do you think of David Bowie? He said, oh, I hate David Bowie. And I was like, why do you hate David Bowie? He said, oh, because he was so fucking handsome and talented, and every one of his albums is a goddamn banger. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah. No, yeah, Celia Rose Gooding elicits that thought in me, like, how fucking dare you? Goddamn perfect human being. Oh. Yeah, no, 10.
Shy.
I'm actually more along with Otto's line on this.
Split down the middle.
I still rate it. I'm gonna lead with my rating. It's an 8 for me, but I don't think this. I feel much like.
Can I ask you, is the length at all an issue for you? 4:30 is the longest one.
Well, the length is an issue because I feel like there's a part that just doesn't do anything to build the song at all. There's a part of this song where lyrically it's just like, it's pretty much like a previously on Star Trek Strange New Worlds, where she's like describing like Hemmer like took me under his wing and like when I was just a lost cadet and now I'm and guided me through. And it's like, why are you giving me exposition in the middle of your song here? I lost my family. It's a lot of it is exposition, which is not what I want. This song is about finding patterns, and there's nothing really mathematical or pattern finding in the lyrics for me.
So you don't find a pattern in her loss?
Track.
That's the pattern.
It's in the instrumental track with the classical guitar going on in the background.
Yeah.
That's a very sort of. But I needed something more like Finishing the Hat from Sunday in the Park with George, like Sondheim.
Oh, that's a good track.
Something that indicated like that she was problem solving in the moment. Her performance is spectacular, of course, but musically, I didn't find the song. I found it like da 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 da. It was sort of repeated itself too much and didn't earn the build to the final notes. So it's an 8 for me. She's great. I
also want to shout out the visuals. I feel like that's one of the more interesting ones that does visuals. Just because it has the cool thing with the pattern and the pad and bursting out like it full sound of music style. I appreciate that.
The beautiful mind like equations going around her face.
It's cute.
Yeah, it's just basically a meme. It's just like a meme in the making.
Say you can't have hallucinations.
And the pullback, and I think Auto pointed out, like they fuck around with the reverb a little bit to get that extra blast of like, they use a full just a Sound of Music number really when you think about it.
It might be the best use of the revamped engineering that they've done. Because it's so fucking big compared, and a lot of this budget, they're like, we have a budget, let's make it look great. But they actually use the space in this one. So
she says on solo, and it pans back. It pans back, and you hear the echo. You hear the echo in the chamber of the engineering chamber, the engine room. So, yeah, it's good. It's just not. It's to me, it's not great. And I know I'm going to be highly ranking songs that seem just like quirky and meaningless in this episode, but those are the ones that broke away from the the monologuing ballad norm of the episode.
Okay. How about?
Did you give us a rating?
Oh yeah.
I gave it an 8. I gave it an 8.
No, Idle.
Me? What did I give it? 10. No, I gave it 10.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah.
You gave it a 10. Yeah.
Okay, that's my highest rated song.
Yeah. This
He
is
is
versus
the
Rebecca
genius.
Romaine. Yeah.
Sorry, carry on.
He just wants to play piano. Go ahead, Shay.
Go ahead. This is versus like what was Rebecca Romaine and Kirk's first song that was like a
Connect to Your
Julie
Truth.
Andrews
Connect
song?
to your truth.
Connect to Your Truth, right. It's sort of that similar thing where I felt like it didn't quite hit the assignment, but it was better than that song, so that's why it's an 8 versus a 7.
All right, how about This Is Where It All Leads, The Enterprise? We Are One, the final song, which is a massive ensemble. I feel this one is also going to split the room a little bit. Let's mix it up against Stars. You start with our final song.
All right. So I have to confess, I always think we should break this song down into 2 parts because there's the dance break and then there's the actual song. When I first saw the Klingon boy band, I cringed. I really did just go like, "Oh,
Really?
okay, that's a bit too far." But on rewatch, I'm like, "No, you know what? This is the only way it could have gone because it's so stupid. It's so balls to the wall. It's so yes, this is what Klingons would consider to be the ultimate dishonor." Sam Kirk grooving along to it is perfection.
It is the Vulcan baseball holoprogram of the episode.
Yes, it actually is. The rest of the song is a little bit too Glee for me. A little bit too like High School Musical, a little bit too Glee in terms of construction. But everyone's just having so much fun. It's so fun to just see people dancing down the halls. I love the red shirt dancing. Like that's like the best bit of choreography in the entire show.
Yeah.
I really appreciated the Queen callback with like Pelia, Spock, and Lan. There's just so many like visual quirks that like make the number work as an actual like musical number. Celia leads it, and it makes total sense that she would. I know that Auto has a quirk with that, which we'll get into. Anson Mount is absolutely throwing it into with the Enterprise. Just feels so electrified. Like that's pure butt rock ridiculousness. I loved it. I really appreciated just like
The
everyone
Enterprise
jumping
is
in on it.
automatic. It's systematic.
Yeah, no, actually. I appreciated like obviously auto-tuned Mbenga like dancing through the halls. I appreciated that a lot. I don't know, I just had a lot of fun with it. I also just there's something very earwormy to me about the bit where Uhura goes, more singing, more voices, and then like Pipe's like, hail the Klingons. It's like that. I feel like I could have gone for way more songs with that. Like, it's like kind of we're doing things while we're singing, not just stopping to have a song. I feel like that could have been a song in itself. Just like we're having a ship-to-ship fight while we're singing could have been hilarious, but also probably been a weird tonal disconnect that would have been great. No, give this an 8. I'm happy with this. It's not my favorite of the numbers, but like I like it overall. I've grown on it since I first watched it.
The what's it called? The irrationality field. Improbability field.
Yeah.
Changes all their phasers. Changes all their phasers to like treble clefs firing at the other side.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, could you imagine if they'd done that? Go on,
Photon torpedoes are just like dancing like doves or whatever. I don't know.
yeah, give me some dubstep on that.
Dancing Gormagandas. There you go.
Well, they kind of had that with the Klingon ships, didn't we? It was like it's nearly there.
A little bit, yeah.
Go on, Auto.
Yeah.
Well, because of your rating 1 to 10, this is my 1. And I think I gave another one like a 4, just so that's like the gap between. And it's because I'm real salty, like you mentioned, that we need someone to inspire the whole ship. Who do we pick? The ensign who admits that not everyone on the ship knows who I am. Just from like a story logical standpoint, that makes no sense to me. Plus the fact that she's just coming off the longest song of the show at 4:30. So for her leading it, like that just kind of killed it. The dead man walking for me. There was some good moments. The Klingon stuff was impeccable. With all the fourth wall breaking that they were doing, that was just like, okay, if there was anyone left who doubted, like was trying to make it work into canon and stuff, it's like, no, just shut up and enjoy this. And it was hilarious just on its own too. So, but it was very, and you're going to hate me for this too, it was very Discovery, tell not show. Look how Starfleet we are, and everyone's working together. And they kind of were. And then the contrivance of the 3.44 gigawatts that they needed. It was just, I didn't like most of it. And that's not to say it was like a one on its own, but just in terms of all the other songs in the catalog, it was my least favorite by a good measure.
Shy.
I really love this finale. I think, as Stars pointed out, it has the single best bit of cinematography and choreography in the episode, with the corridor pan as the red shirts all flip around and start doing their West Side
The only way it
Story.
could have been better is if they'd all died at the end.
Yeah.
They'll just go, ugh.
Yeah. Like if the Klingons had taken a shot and it had blown out a panel, they all just blew out on cue.
And then the frozen
actually,
corpses are snapping to the beat.
Yeah.
Otto, I actually completely agree with you. Like, Pike's sort of defining characteristic, one of his defining characteristics is that, and they joke about this, is that he makes inspirational speeches. So I thought, because Uhura had just had a song, that there was a misdirect when he was like, Uhura, you have to do this. And then he was going to suddenly start singing against his will, like horrified, but end up giving like a inspirational singing song and like leading that song. That would have made more sense to me. So I actually agree with you on this point. But overall, this is a 9 out of 10 for me. I really enjoy this finale. It, completely biased. It reminded me of like one of our opening songs from Con the Musical that was about a love letter to the Enterprise as well. I love the moment when Spock is just sort of looking at the instruments and he realizes like, oh, it's my cue, and just kind of like jogs over and immediately goes into goodbye, Enterprise.
See,
okay.
now, I thought that was because he was watching the gigawatts and they were getting close, but not quite enough. So I thought,
he enjoyed it. Yeah.
Okay,
Right,
I have
exactly.
to push it over the edge. Yeah,
That's right. No, yeah, it could have been like, regardless, just Ethan Peck's like deadpan, like, okay.
Guess what?
I
If fucking Ethan Peck, if you look at him in any scene, he is doing what Leonard Nimoy would have done in the exact same thing, pretty much. Like, obviously, he has his own interpretation on it, but he is broadly the exact same, and that's what his performance works.
Yeah, it's very Voyage Home, like Leonard Nimoy, right? Like, he's doing full comedy Spock. The Esther Williams shot of the Enterprise and the three twirling Klingon, like D9s behind him. Like sort of like the old Busby Berkeley top-down shot of Esther Williams emerging out of the swimming pool with synchronized swimmers, like going around it. That's exactly what that was, and it was just everyone got a little something to do. The little dance with Carol Kane at the end after the song was done was with Pelia. They didn't make everyone just hug happily at the end. Spock like glares at Chapel and walks
Storms
off.
off.
But and I happen to love the K-pop pun. Klingon pop.
Oh, yeah. No, when I first saw it, I was like, no, this is too far. But now I've come around on it. I knew
the Klingons were going to come in. I figured it would be some sort of Klingon opera. So, like interlude.
Death metal, yeah.
Fun fact: they actually recorded a Klingon opera version and then decided this was better.
I need to buy the Blu-ray to see that. Because there's like tons of stuff on the Blu-rays that you don't otherwise get.
Okay, so there's Pike's the Starship Enterprise feels electrified. I'm so proud to be your captain. And then you get the whole let's take this thing down, with a very kind of, I like that moment. I like that chord sequence. I also do like
Why you only calling us when you got your dramas? One of these days we'll repay you, we'll slay you. Gonna draw your last breaths at the end of my class. Your eternal torture is everything.
Do my best Sam Cooke right now.
You know what I mean? Make come on, scream!
Scream!
Yeah, I thought that was fucking atrocious when I first watched it. I was just like, what are they doing? I was like, what has happened? Because they said the Klingons. I was like, oh, we're going to get a rendition of some opera, and they did that, and I'm like, what the? Like, you got the Klingons in the background, and they're like, yeah, like really into it. Like, you could tell they're professional dancers, not just Klingons who are half drunk, just going, which is kind of what I thought. But I was laughing my head off. I was cackling like a witch in the night. Like, it was so funny. And then, yeah, like you say, on rewatch, I'm just like, no, that's perfect. You has to do it. It just has to be like that. It really does.
The Klingons felt
Instantly
very
iconic.
robot. The Klingon moment felt very robot chicken to me, like late night
Yeah.
TV.
Yeah. It felt a parody.
Or a really good SNL bit, yeah.
Yeah, it felt a bit...
I don't think SNL has quite. They do a different style of comedy. Like, that was my first thought, and I'm like, no, it's stranger than SNL would do.
Yeah.
So.
It's
the
Family Guy,
5-to-1. It's the 5-to-1 SNL sketch, right? That's what's so great about it. Because the famous, I don't know if anyone who watches Saturday Night Live and has followed it for years, you know that there's the famous 5-to-1 sketch, which is the sketch that no one's sure about, so they push it to the last spot of the show. It's 5-to-1 a.m. and it's usually some crazy, absurdist, insane thing, like everyone's speaking Japanese, or there's a dog with hands, some weird thing. And I also love that their uniforms are like kind of throwback
they are
hybrids with TOS Klingon.
Yeah. We've got the full
uniforms,
gold
too.
lame going on, yeah.
Yeah.
But apart from those two moments, I really didn't enjoy this. I mean, the last words were, we're the unbreakable, unshakable, improbable, unstoppable, sensational ovation. We're boldly explorational.
Well, I never was there ever.
Exactly.
So clever as magical.
Mr. Police.
I get that had to be the thing, but I feel like the conceit that like they just need to sing really louder to make an anomaly blow up. It just stretches things a little bit for me. I'm like, they did the science thing, and the science thing didn't work, so fuck it, let's just sing. But it, and Uhura's like, well, I proved it could happen, and yeah, it did. And the whole, I don't know, it, like you say, it felt a bit Glee, it felt a bit High School Musical, and that turned me off quite a lot, I think. And so this is probably a 3 for me. The Klingons and Pike save it from Oblivion at 1, but I really did not enjoy this one. And that's my cold heart.
Do you mind if we go a little longer on this, since we're going long anyway?
Yeah.
And it is the longest.
Oh,
For the longest episode, yeah.
Yeah. I had a list of notes for mostly the non-musical stuff. I wanna run down, so feel free to butt in. Kirk is a fucking shitbag for flirting with other women while his girlfriend is pregnant with his child. Are there any dissenting voices that would like to argue on his behalf?
But yeah, that's definitely a character.
Okay. He did as she asked. He did what she wanted.
Also, I'm starting to stand Chong too, so it's like, don't hurt her, or I'll fuck you up, Kirk.
Yeah.
I like that she gives him a smile at the end after the thing is done, and then just like, no, there's no hard feelings about this. I appreciate that.
And it is partly built up in her own mind because he has no idea what happened in episode 3, and she does. So, or in Toronto.
Yeah. Here's a note to all you uncoupled, non-monogamous, monogamous people out there: never tell the person that you would get along with the other person. Never tell them that. You know what? That's what you'd actually like them.
Like Carol, yeah.
Never say that.
But so we did say in the watch along, Shai and I agree, the most Kirk like moment he's been so far. She tells him this heartbreaking, heartrending story about how she feels, what happened, and his first question is, "Am I anything like the Kirk that you fell in love with?" Like that is so. That is Kirk and Shatner.
He leans in as well. He kind of does the whole.
Forward.
Am I anything like the Kirk you fell in love with? It's totally on key, totally on point.
Lon at the beginning in the transporter room walking the wrong way. That could have been an outtake. If they told me it's an outtake that they use, I'd believe them. So good. The line in the briefing, Kirk says, "Mr. Spock, you explained that very well. I almost understood it. I didn't like that."
No, I love it.
Yeah, it's like, hey, we got to start planting the seeds because Kirk and Spock know each other, and it felt like an undeserved.
I felt that was a very
unearned
Kirk line.
dig.
I could see Shatner saying that in a briefing in TOS. Like, that was very good, Spock. I almost understood it.
Yeah.
I could say something incredibly crude right now, but I'm not going to, out of respect for your lily white ears.
But
He had
but
a lot
again,
of good
we know
lines,
each
Kirk
other,
did.
though. We know each other, though, and so did he at
Yeah.
that point. So
Yeah.
Una's line, surprisingly beautiful baritone line of the show for me.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, it's great.
And she has another one. Minor spoilers, for the next 10 seconds, you can mute me. In the next episode, she says the red alert can't get any redder. That is also the line of the episode for me. So she just said they may not be giving her as much as some people want, but it's very great comedic moments. So I like that. Let's talk about, and you feel free to disagree with me, why Pike doesn't feel very pikey lately. He says, can we just blow it up? And Spock explains why that idea has potential. He goes, really? It's like they're trying to make him kind of dumb caveman-y. He doesn't believe in himself, sort of thing. And that's a smaller moment. But over like the second half of the season, it feels like he's not this dynamic man's man that we've come to know from Kirk. He cedes the final inspirational moment to her, which is, to me, kind of the ultimate moment of this whole through line. And I don't know why it is. I don't know if it's intentional. I don't know if that's just the way they're writing him. I don't know if I'm reading too much into it.
I think it's two factors. I think it's a case of season 2 is not Pike's season. Season 1 is absolutely Pike's season. It is absolutely. It starts with Pike and it ends with Pike. It is all about Pike and his journey. Like, yes, there are characters who take other focus, but literally in every episode there is something about Pike and his command style, or where he is going to end up, or that you can in some way relate to his character arc. That is not true of season 2. Focus has been taken off of him. The second factor is, of course, that Anson Mount was not around for a lot of these filming things because of his family thing. So by necessity, you have to pull him back and de-emphasize him a little bit. Now, I'm of the opinion that it doesn't really hurt the character. I feel like they are playing him for a bit more for comedy, but I think that's playing more to the actor's strengths than it is to the character's weaknesses. I don't think any less of Pike for anything he did in this season. I think that he is still the same character. He is just de-emphasized out of necessity, and also because they want to give other characters more of a room to shine.
Yeah. Look, heroes are not heroes because they were never tested, right? And this season, you're getting Pike's self-image and sense of self is being tested. He loses his memory, he becomes this instantly barbaric creature. He loses at the beginning. He starts off having lost his number one. He doesn't know if he's going to go on without Una. He tries to bring his Federation ideals to Mbenga and Under the Cloak of War, and Mbenga's like, "No, stop! You don't know what you're talking about."
He's not allowed to bring his inspiring speeches to the courtroom in episode 2.
Yeah, exactly. So it's
there are all these factors, which if they're building to something they address, I'm fine with it. Because it started out subtle, and now I think it's becoming less subtle. But you also have that butting up against all those factors you just mentioned, butting up against the fact that he kind of knows his destiny anyway. And I think that would embolden a lot of people, where it seems like it's doing the opposite for him, where he's questioning himself a lot more. And again, I don't know if I'm reading into that or if they're going to weave that into something. But go ahead, Idle.
I was just going to say, let's save that one for the season review, because I said that's going to be a bigger topic of conversation. So we'll come back to that one. But no, please continue on your notes.
That's all I have for notes. So let's do best worst rating.
Can I throw in a bit here?
Go on.
I want to throw in a new Trek
Ooh.
bit. Is there another Star Trek cast that you would have rather seen do this episode, or that you would be interested in seeing them do
I think
a musical episode?
Discovery would have been very good to do a musical episode, and I feel like you've got the talent there as well.
DS9.
Ooh.
Yeah,
We got there a little bit close. But there were tons of music in DS9, but I feel like if I could have had Avery Brooks and Michael Dorn and like Nana Visitor and like Renee
Renee
Auberjonois
Auberjonois, Broadway
and
veteran, yeah.
guess what? All of these people, I
The
could
best
see
is
him doing
yet
it.
to come. Yeah.
Well, guess what? Yeah,
Yeah.
like I would have wanted a song between Worf and Odo where they complain about everyone on the promenade and all the regulars who get thrown into the holding cells.
Yeah.
I would have wanted an antagonistic song between Quark and Odo. I would have wanted a romantic song between Ben and Cassidy. I would have wanted a fun little scamp song between Jake and Nog. I would have wanted a "You're an idiot," no, you're an idiot. You're an asshole, no, you're an idiot. Between Rom and Quark. Guess what? Every single, and then you have like a whole villain ensemble number with a Dominion.
No,
like I would have wanted a frustrated romantic number between O'Brien and Kira. I could literally spin off every single one of those relationships into a song.
It would be Guy Love between O'Brien and Bashir. That would be the song from Scrubs.
It's Guy Love.
Yeah, it would just be that.
Really gay about it. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Otto, is there another cast you'd like to see do this?
I'll cop out a little bit. Even though I'll go in like reverse order, honorable mention style. Enterprise and Voyager, just because I feel like they've left a lot of viewers unsatisfied in one way or the other, and they probably could have benefited from it the most to have some kind of wacky
Enterprise could have done,
thing that people talk about for decades to come. Number 2, as we go up the list, would be TNG, just because they have some good singing chops there. And
well, they're all on Brett's album, right? Old Yellow Eyes, or whatever it is.
Right. And then number 1, just because it would be the safest choice, but Lower Decks, because they can do whatever the hell they want as animation and their quirky style and make it work. So I think all the traditionalists would be happy to see them stay in their lane and not contaminate the good old-fashioned episodic Strange
When
New
they
Worlds
do a Lower Decks movie, it needs to be musical.
No, it's going to be Section 31. It's just going to be entirely a musical short. That's it.
I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that.
Okay, let's go. It's been a long day. Let's give ahead to the ratings. Stars, please give us.
best worst.
Well, we've been going on. I mean, honestly,
let's do it.
We're on hour 3. All right, fine. Best worst moments. Let's start with the accused. Otto, what is your best and worst moments of the episode?
Oh, but don't pick me. You
missed
gotta think
me.
about it. That's what I always say. No, we'll be quick. Worst is Pike.
Everything.
Look, we rated
I'm kidding,
9 songs.
I'm kidding.
I gave 7 of them 6
I
or
love
above.
you,
All
buddy.
right? 5 or above.
I'm kidding. Come on.
So the worst is Pike at the end. Metaphorically impotent. I don't. Maybe that's too harsh, but it's like you're the captain. Let you inspire. She just had a big whatever. We cover that. Best moment. Christina Chong. That's kind of a big moment, but I like what she does. I liked her song. I think I gave that the 10 of the group because it meshed the best for me with the episode. Modern cinema does a lot more with the sort of embarrassing, awkward romance stuff. Where back in the 60s, everyone was like chiseled movie star with the granite jaw and romance books and sweep you off your feet. So that is more of a shift over the years, but she does it so well. Like you feel the anxiety along with her, but it's still endearing and it's the best stuff that Kirk does, in my opinion, is the stuff with her.
Shy.
Worst moment is just the lack of variety and genre knowledge in the song list. I wanted more variety. I wanted more different types of song. The songs are all, good to very good. None of them are great. The best moment is for me is that single shot in the corridor with the red shirts, like the camera zooming down, and then like that's in the trailer for a reason because and part of the disappointment with the choreography for me is that that's in the trailer and I'm like, oh, is the whole episode going to have shots and choreography like that? Big group numbers, no, that and the K-pop band. Go on. Oh, I would have TNG as a musical cast, by the way, because I just did a TOS musical, so I don't need to see that. I just did that for 5 weeks straight.
You lived it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stars.
Worst moment would be just like a short, a little bit of lack of polish on certain songs. I feel like if you had like another 6 months to refine this, you wouldn't have had stuff like the stumping stop on Una's like Keeping Secrets number, a bit more refinement on the rhyming schemes, maybe a bit more variety on the songs. Best moment, oh god, that's hard actually. I really like a lot of this. I think, you know what, I'm going to just sum up in one little exchange, and it's Paul Wesley looking around and going, "We're singing again, we're singing again." Like,
Yeah.
guess what? Just like that. You know what? Like the meta level of it maybe not have worked for you, Otto, but it worked for me. I just appreciated them being like, "What the fuck?" Like, I just appreciate that. I'm a big fan of like Repo the Genetic Opera and Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog, which play around with the conventions of musicals and why things are musical and why some things aren't, and you know. Like, let's talk about why musical theatre works the way it does and have fun with it. And I feel like addressing it headlong with an anomaly that only works on certain emotional expressions and not others just worked for me. I liked it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he has one of the best throwaway lines of, like, "I thought you guys had all rehearsed that."
Yes, that was
That's a great throwaway line.
This, just as an aside, this is I think I've enjoyed this this episode for Kirk more than all the others by far. So maybe I'm just a late adopter to Paul Wesley can be Kirk.
I will go my best moment. It is hard to pick. I feel my favorite moment was when the K-pop was on and Sam Kirk's in the background just giving it the head nods. And he's just like, "Yeah, I'm into this." Everyone's looking around to go, "What's going on?" He's just like, "Yeah, this is a jam. I'm gonna go check this out."
That is so Guy Fleegman of him, isn't it?
He is, isn't he? And my worst moment, why wasn't there a Sam and Jim Kirk song, brothers song? Like, you had them on the same ship, you had a musical going on. We needed, if we're not going to get that, we need a shuttle pod one with them on a shuttle together, airing out their differences. And like,
I would actually adore a Sam Jim episode. I would adore that. I don't give a fuck. You have Garrett centric episodes in DS9.
Absolutely, but yeah, that's my best and worst. Let's run around and give us, please, your rating criteria. Stars. How many what of what are we watting tonight?
Gentlemen, how many private conversations, this is a private conversation, about our frustrations out of 10 would you give this episode?
Wait, add a second about our frustrations on it. Let's just make this as long as we can.
Yeah, this might be the longest one.
Frustrations. Okay, Shy.
I had this locked in since like yesterday. This is the longest I've had one locked in.
I thought it was like since you watched the episode the first time. Like, there's the link.
A little bit.
Shy.
Yeah, I thought it was an 8. I love the swing for the fences they took. I really enjoyed it. It was fun to watch it again with you guys. But it was just a little short for me musically. Yeah, need a little bit more variety and a little more choreography, a little more visual direction in the musical theater realm or musical video realm.
Okay, stars.
Stars.
Ooh.
Oh, I'm getting a bit of echo there.
Oh, you're feeding back, Shy.
For me, this is probably... No, you know what? This is an episode that gives me joy. It's strip. I'm happy that it exists. I will happily show this to all my friends. And I will show it to people who are like, why should I watch Star Trek? Like, guess what? From one episode, you go from a really heartfelt, PTSD character study of a combat medic and all kinds of moral ambiguity to a musical, and both of them are great episodes. This is 9 private conversations.
Ooh.
This is a private conversation.
I actually put 10 in automatically. I thought you were going to go 10, but you put 9.
There's a little bit of an awkward word choice. There's a few missed opportunity for songs here. Like the auto-tune is a little bit more obvious on certain people than others. But when it hits, it fucking hits. There are moments in here that are absolutely 10, but I think as overall product, I think it's a 9. So yeah, 9 private conversations. This is a private conversations out of 10.
I'm gonna jump the queue here, and I'm gonna say for me,
I'm shocked you're leaving me for the end
I'm
because
gonna
I
leave
think
you for
you guys.
no, I'm going to leave you for the end because
Okay.
I am going to go with. I'm going to be brave and I'm going to say what I feel. I'm going to say this is a 6 for me. I'm not a musical fan, but I appreciate what the work they put into this. I feel. Oh, you're feeding back again, Shy. Sorry. Yeah, I appreciate the work they put into this. It's not my style of music, but that didn't stop me loving a few of the songs. I felt lyrically, tonally, it was a bit of a mismatch. I wasn't too keen on some of the technobabble. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would, but it's not something I'm going to rush to rewatch in a hurry. Didn't stop me transcribing all the music and putting it out there, partly because it's a Star Trek musical. Why wouldn't I? But apart from that, yeah, I think it's a 6. I wish it had more variety in the songs. Like Shai says, I wish there was a little bit more to it. I wish there was more of the things that made Uhura and La'an's song really good put into maybe the finale and some of the other stuff. More variety as well. But yeah, that's me. I think they did very well for a musical. I think it's around about what I expected. But go on, Auto. Bring the hammer down.
You hated it so much
surprised.
you watched it 17 times to transcribe all the music.
Kind of, yeah, but that's if it wasn't Star Trek, I wouldn't have bothered. Like, that's the thing. If this was a random musical for something else, I'd have been like, "What is this shit? I'm turning it off." Like, it's Star Trek, so that's different.
Allow me a short, fourth wall breaking, indulgent rant in honor of this episode. Ratings are really hard. If you have 1,000 episodes that you need to rate, and you watch one on a Saturday and you watch one 5 years later on a Thursday, you're going to get way different numbers. And for our timelines viewers, it's like trying to tier crew. Sit down and see how many you can put in order, and then 5 minutes later you want to switch half of them. It's really difficult. It's always going to change. So, people are going to look at the number and be like, "Oh, he hated it," whatever. The first time I watched this, it was a 1. I'm like, I absolutely can't stand this. After watching it here the third time, it is I'm going to steal your 8 because I have so much respect for you, Shai. It is a 3.8 for me. But we've had so much great discussion.
If you watch it like 5 more times, then you'll get up to an 8.8.
No, that's what I'm going to say. I have had so much fun and so much more understanding breaking this down with you guys. Next time I watch it, it may be a 4, it may be a 5, and it's going to grow. We are very much prisoners of the moment with Strange New Worlds going through it. This is a banger. This is a 10. This is a 10. We don't have everything memorized in it like we do from these 30-year-old episodes. So it's going to hit a little bit differently. Also, it's coming off what may be for me the best episode of Star Trek ever, personally favorite. We'll get into that at another time. So 3.8. I'm going to like it more the next time I watch it because I've watched it 3 times and liked it more each time. I'm sorry, 3.8. Private Conversations is a private conversation about our frustration, about our frustrations, out of 10.
Thank you.
10.
Thank you.
Well, thank you everyone for possibly our longest Trek to date, but we had to do
Like
this.
2 hours long. Yeah.
We had to do this. We had to do it like this. So thank you everyone for sticking with us. There is going to be a bit of a break before we do Hegemony and then the season 2 review, because I'm going to my first Star Trek convention this weekend in Birmingham. So we won't be doing our usual Sunday weekend record, and I think we've got a few delays after, but we'll keep you posted when the next one's coming out and when we'll be editing this one with a little something that Shai's been putting together as well, which should be a fun little intro. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. Thank you everyone for watching. We'll be back on Wednesday for Timelines Talks number 92. Come and find all the latest timelines news and reviews. And for everyone else, we will see you soon. I'm expecting a mariachi, but Cranky's off sailing, so we can't do that. alas.
This is what the Trek Time musical will sound like, folks.
It's just a nightmare in Discord. There you go. That's the album title. Okay, everyone, live long and prosper. Ta-ra.